right honourable lady agree? Just stop the baying, hounds. Stop the baying, we've not killed the fox yet. Will the right honourable lady agree that she's missed out two very, very important sections of society, the BMA and the legal professions associations, which operate their close shop and, above all, act as their own kangaroo courts, which no other trade union in the country does?
By law.
The Law Society and the Bar Council are not and would not be closed shops. Perhaps... No. Perhaps the honourable gentleman will read the last presidential address of the present president of the Law Society. Of course people have to take qualifications. That is different. Yeah. They do not have to belong to the Law Society to practice as a solicitor. They have to take their qualification. They do not have to belong to the Bar Council to practice as a barrister. They do not have to belong to the British Medical Association to practice as a doctor. From a number of things that the Prime Minister has said, on picketing, that he doesn't like the present situation either. Now, we don't always judge the Prime Minister by what he says, because he does very different things. Most of us didn't like what was happening at Grunwick, but he, in fact, didn't stop two of his cabinet ministers going on that picket line, or a number of honourable members. And that was a question of numbers, and numbers themselves can be intimidating. Leaving aside the violence altogether, numbers themselves can be intimidating, and his right honourable friend, the member for Hitchin, and his right honourable friend, the Secretary of State for Defence, went on those picket lines. They were not concerned in the dispute in any way. And will the right honourable lady also tell the House, as a number of her colleagues have not done in letters to the press, that on the moment there was any violence on the Grunwick picket line, which was many weeks after I went there, I immediately denounced it publicly. The right honourable lady was not concerned in that dispute. She was not in dispute with anyone, as far as I know. Nevertheless, she added her presence to the picket line to the numbers, and numbers themselves can be intimidating. But the right honourable lady knows that what I said in my remarks to her were true. Will she now concede that they were true? She concedes that she went on the picket line. I would never accuse her of wanting or condoning violence. But I must say to her, she was not in dispute. She ought never to have gone on that picket line. It encouraged others to turn up in larger numbers. And when one of my honourable friends from behind us tackled the Prime Minister about it at question time, when one of my honourable friends tackled the Prime Minister about it at question time, he said yes, and he hoped that other people, even from our side, would go and join that picket line. So the Prime Minister has not exactly the world's best record as far as picketing is concerned. But we understand from more recent quotations that when he said, not crossing the picket lines become an expression of solidarity to a degree which I certainly did not know in my younger days when I was an active trade unionist. That kind of solidarity, if carried to extremes, means that life could seize up in a closely knit industrial society such as our own. So it seems that he too is having second thoughts. And if he is, and if he will carry out an inquiry and an investigation into picketing, and if he will undertake to first to repeal that extension which his government put through, and then to see both how the law and practice can be changed to see that we do not have the problems we're encountering now, we on this side will support him. Now, very closely allied to the question of picketing and giving it its tremendous power is a very large weapon of the closed shop. It is this which I won't say allows pickets to intimidate, because they're not allowed to intimidate, but which in practice enables them to do it, and we can't catch it and take it to the courts. It is illegal. It is the most powerful weapon. And if you have a lorry driver turning up to a line of pickets, he may well be alone in the cab. He has to face a line of pickets alone. He can be identified because of the name on the number on his lorry and the name of it. Then he is so fearful that he's almost bound to stop. As one of them said, "What choice have I? Who will stand up for me when I'm sacked?" Now, again, in this very vexed and vital area of the closed shop, this government has enhanced the powers of the trade unions and has made it legal to have a statutory closed shop, and has made it legal for the unions to see that a person can be sacked from his job without compensation, without right of appeal to the courts of law. That's what this government has done, to enhance and increase the power of trade unions. And when we get the picketing as it is now, and they've enhanced the place where it can take place, when you get the closed shop law as it is now, you have put the biggest weapon into the hands of trade unions for violence and intimidation which we cannot detect. Now, again...
Would my right honourable friend give way? Would my right honourable friend associate an additional point with the remarks that she's been making, namely that many picket lines are being used not only at Grunwick but also in current disputes for extremist parties like the Socialist Workers' Party and the Communist Party, solely as a platform for making political trouble?
I want to get out all possibility of violence on the picket lines. I want to re-establish the circumstances under which people can go about their business without interference and without fear of losing their job. They are in grave fear now. Now, again, the Prime Minister has been saying various things about a closed shop. I mean, he voted to change the legislation, but now he's been saying new things about the closed shop. He said on the 12th of July, "I always took the view that there was a right not to belong to a trade union when I was a trade unionist myself, and I take that view now." Well, if he does, again I say this to him, if he wishes to repeal the legislation which his government passed, we will support him in doing so. If he will bring forward proposals to mitigate the effects of the closed shop, then again we will support him in doing so. If he will ask the unions to minimise its effect, we will support him in that approach. And it is not impossible to do that. It's just been done at County Hall. Some 17 unions, at the instance of Horace Cutler, have just got a new agreement at County Hall, which means that the closed shop in its present form will not continue. Let me tell the Prime Minister what has been agreed, because it is the biggest breakthrough under the present Conservative government. We will not have the closed shop. A new agreement has been negotiated. Let me read it, because if the Prime Minister will get this for every union under all circumstances in the country, it'll be a great advance. Let me read it out. What we've now agreed is that any worker who genuinely objects to trade union membership on the grounds of religious belief or personal conviction can opt out without question. There will be no Star Chamber type of inquisition into the genuineness of such belief. Any worker opting out will make a charitable donation equivalent to the trade union subscription. That, of course, the present government made a closed shop possible and legal under circumstances when it would never have been possible and legal before, and enabled trade unions to compel a person to lose his job without compensation if he refused to join a union.